Hello, welcome back to my channel. So since we just talked about sampling, I wanted to talk about another artist who I've been wanting to make a video on for a while now. So today we're going to be talking about PinkPantheress and how she went from being basically an anonymous TikTok sensation to one of the most prominent rising artists. Early last year, PinkPantheress topped the BBC's Sound of 2022 list, which is meant to showcase rising artists. PinkPantheress was chosen from a panel of over 130 artists and industry experts, including Elton John, Georgia Smith, Jade Thirlwall, Billie Eilish, and Ed Sheeran. This prestigious list has honored winners who went on to become household names like Adele and Sam Smith. This recognition came relatively quickly after the internet discovered PinkPantheress and her mysteriously moody yet up-tempo music. So who is PinkPantheress, and why do the BBC and other publications believe she has the potential to be the next big thing? PinkPantheress, whose real name is Vicky Beverly Walker, was born in Bath, England in 2001. She actually kept both her real name and her identity secret for quite a bit after taking off. Her mother is Kenyan and her father is English, with her mom being a civil servant and her dad being a stats professor. According to sources, she had a pretty posh upbringing. PinkPantheress has always been interested in music. When she was younger, she took piano lessons and started singing. By the time she was 14, she was the lead singer of a rock band that performed covers. PinkPantheress chose her stage name after watching a quiz show called The Chase. One of the contestants was asked what a female panther was called and responded Pantheress. The pink was added to the name to distinguish from another artist who was using the name Pantheress. Before gaining recognition for her own music, PinkPantheress used to produce and write music for a friend. Eventually, she transitioned into making music for herself. When she put the music online, she didn't even tell her friends, and certainly she didn't even tell any of her listeners who she was. About this, she said, "It's not about secrecy, I'm avoiding stress and preconceptions." When she started gaining popularity, PinkPantheress was actually in university studying film and making music by night. She initially posted her music on SoundCloud, but didn't start gaining attention until she started posting on TikTok. A snippet she posted on the PinkPantheress TikTok account of her song called Just a Waste went viral in late 2020. This is PinkPantheress' first known track that she released. It samples Off the Wall by Michael Jackson and interpolates another of his songs, Wanna Be Startin' Something. PinkPantheress has called her type of music new nostalgic. Her music is influenced by UK garage, alternative pop, bedroom pop, R&B, and rock. Her music also makes frequent use of samples, especially ones from the 90s and 2000s. Her sound is very girly and poppy, but at the same time dark and mysterious, and it kind of gives Bratz doll vibes. PinkPantheress' approach to TikTok was both intentional and calculated. When she was just starting out, she would follow 1,000 different accounts every hour just to get her name out there and just to bring more eyes into her channel. This is actually how her record label ended up discovering her, so I guess it was a pretty good strategy. And PinkPantheress has also said that she uses TikTok sort of like a focus group, meaning that she'll post snippets of songs that she's working on, and then based on fan reception, she'll decide whether she's going to continue with the song or if she's going to make any edits or tweaks to it. PinkPantheress has said about using TikTok to market, "I tried all the other options in terms of getting my music out there, and I feel like TikTok was my saving grace. I was using TikTok anyway just to watch videos, but the idea of it being used as a music sharing platform struck my mind one day when I made a video with 0 followers and it did kind of well. I don't want to use TikTok to promote my music forever, but as a leg up, it's truly amazing for a new musician." In early 2021, 2 of PinkPantheress' songs, Pain and Break It Off, went viral on TikTok. In August of 2021, Pain peaked at number 35 on the UK singles chart. It samples the song Flowers by Sweet Female Attitude. After gaining an audience from TikTok, PinkPantheress signed to her first label, Parlophone, in April of 2021. 2 months later, she also signed to Elektra Records. Elektra is home to artists like Queen, Avril Lavigne, and Bruno Mars. Just For Me, PinkPantheress' most popular song, was officially released in August of 2021. Prior, a snippet of the song went viral on TikTok. Over 2 million people used Just For Me in a TikTok, and the app named Just For Me their breakout song of the summer. With Just For Me, PinkPantheress said that she wanted to write a song about stalkerish obsession similar to Eminem's Stan. She considers it a part 2 to her other single, Pain. In their review, Fader called Just For Me a 2-step daydream as light as a feather. Just For Me sounds airy and delicate, and the bedroom pop influences are clear, perfectly creating the vibe of obsession and delusion disguised as love and flattery. Just For Me also has clear garage and alternative pop influences. The official version of Just For Me, which was produced by Muramasa, was released as a single from PinkPantheress' debut mixtape. Soon after, PinkPantheress ended some of the mystery surrounding her identity and posted a selfie to Instagram. She said despite people now knowing what she looked like, she was still going to maintain her privacy because she wants her brand to be more about her music than how she presents herself. Now that she was no longer anonymous, PinkPantheress decided to appear in her video for Just For Me. The video, which she co-directed, depicts her performing in front of an audience of depressed youths. It makes several references to eras past with things like flip phones, the styling choices, and the aggressive fisheye lens. The video appears relatively lower budget and pretty homemade, but that works perfectly because that's how a lot of PinkPantheress' music sounds. And rather than that being a problem, it seems like it's part of PinkPantheress' appeal. Her music itself isn't just relatable, but the way it's created and marketed is pretty attainable for most youths, and it's likely similar to the way that they create and market their own music. Just For Me has been covered by other popular artists like Giveon and Coldplay, who both covered it in live lounge performances. The Fader named Just For Me the best song of 2021. Other publications including Slant, Pitchfork, Enemy, and Dazed all had it on their year-end list as well. So far, Just For Me is PinkPantheress' highest charting song on the UK singles chart as it peaked at number 27. The month following the video release, PinkPantheress dropped her first mixtape, To Hell With It. The project is short and sweet, clocking in at just over 18 minutes with 10 tracks. Most of PinkPantheress' songs are under 2 minutes, which checks out for someone who primarily markets their music on TikTok. To Hell With It taps into the nostalgia for so-called simpler times, mostly the 90s and 2000s. Pitchfork noted that what sets PinkPantheress apart, as evidenced by this mixtape, is that she uses nostalgia as a guide rather than a gimmick. Her songs are introspective and the production is layered, so even if a sample or nod at nostalgia is what draws you in, it's likely not all that you'll stay for. In their review, Pitchfork said, "On To Hell With It, PinkPantheress sculpts a digital age paradise that exists only in an invented memory of the past, setting the stage for a career set more firmly in the present." An invented memory is actually the perfect way to describe the fascination with the 90s and 2000s that a lot of people have who either weren't even alive at the time or were very, very young back then, myself included. Because no matter how much we want to experience the art and music of bygone eras as it was at the time, this is actually impossible because the past is always viewed through the lens of the present. I think this is why a lot of songs that are meant to bank on nostalgia end up falling flat. Because you can engineer a beat a specific way or include a certain sample that's meant to remind people of a song from 30 years ago, but if there's no genuine connection to or feeling behind it, then it tends to fall flat. And like I said, you can learn everything there is about the 90s or 2000s or any other past era, but it's not the same as living through it. I say all this to point out something about PinkPantheress' music that I feel like a lot of artists in her lane or current artists who are in the business of sampling sometimes lack. Yes, PinkPantheress' music is influenced by the 90s and 2000s, but there are also current genres that are present in her music, for example, bedroom pop or hyperpop. And when you listen to PinkPantheress' music, it's really clear that these are genres that she actually listens to and appreciates and knows how to work with and infuse into her music. And when you listen to a PinkPantheress song, it doesn't just sound like an imitation of a 90s or 2000s song, but rather music from a 2020s lens that has Y2K influences in it. PinkPantheress isn't trying to make a song that sounds like it came from the 2000s. Her music sounds like it could have only existed in the 2020s, but reflects the 2020s fascination with the Y2K sound. Even when old trends become popular again, it's never in the exact same way, and they're always adapted slightly to fit the current time period in which they exist. PinkPantheress' sound is also clearly influenced by artists who came before her, like Lily Allen, Paramore, and Imogen Heap. She's also a self-proclaimed K-pop fan and used to make fan edits, so that's another genre that likely influences her work. PinkPantheress quickly gained a cult following online. Not only has she been noticed by record labels and other artists, but by fashion designers as well. Marc Jacobs selected her as one of his Gen Z muses, and she posed in a campaign for his Heaven line in October of 2021. The campaign also included models Bella Hadid and Iris Law, as well as the singer Biba Doobie. Nylon's article about the campaign made a point of mentioning that at the time, PinkPantheress' name was still unknown and acknowledged how she was notoriously private. The following month, PinkPantheress performed her first live shows at smaller venues in London. In an interview, she said seeing her fans live rather than from her phone made her fame feel more real to her. She also mentioned that the smaller, more intimate shows would hopefully help her ease into bigger venues. Aside from being named atop BBC's Sound of 2022 list, PinkPantheress achieved several other accomplishments that year. She hosted the Brit Awards VIP party, which was broadcast virtually through Roblox. Her performance is part of the wave of popular artists having virtual shows for fans in video games or in the metaverse. PinkPantheress announced her first headlining tour in the United States at the end of last January. Performances took place in Oakland, LA, New York City, and Atlanta. Soon after, Halsey announced her own tour for her album If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, and announced PinkPantheress as one of the special guests. The tour kicked off in the summer of 2022. Biba Doobie, who was also on the tour, said spending time with PinkPantheress eventually inspired her to do a song with her. She invited PinkPantheress to feature on her song Tinkerbell is Overrated. PinkPantheress has collaborated with several popular artists in her niche and is featured on several songs. She featured on Muramassa's Baby Cakes along with Shy Girl and Lil Uzi. She's also worked with Baby Keem and Don Toliver and was featured on a song on the Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack. PinkPantheress teamed up with Willow for her song Where You Are, which samples Paramore's Never Let This Go. She said it's one of the songs that she's proudest of to date. Along with PinkPantheress herself, the song was produced by Skrillex and Muramasa. Initially, PinkPantheress teased the song on TikTok, and fans liked it, but they said it sounded like a song that Willow should be on. Strings were pulled and Willow was put on the song. NME said about her inclusion, Willow's verse adds a wealth of color to the soundscape, her sharper and more sober tone gelling with PinkPantheress' more angelic vocal melody. PinkPantheress had a full circle moment later on that year when Hayley Williams brought her on stage at Austin City Limits. The pair performed Misery Business, and PinkPantheress cried on stage because she was so excited to meet Hayley, who's one of her inspirations. She actually said it was seeing Hayley perform at Reading Festival years ago that inspired her to become an artist. In November of last year, PinkPantheress gave their rare performance doing a set at the Boiler Room. Flo and Goldlink joined as her special guests. Flo making an appearance was a welcome crossover. They and PinkPantheress both make that Y2K-inspired music, but they show two separate takes on it. But then again, that makes complete sense because the 2000s have several different sounds to draw from. PinkPantheress gave her fans a Christmas gift in the form of a short EP called Take Me Home. She said she released the EP in case anyone was in need of some upbeat music during the holidays. The songs had been previously teased on social media and were co-produced by Kaytranada. In their review, Pitchfork appeared less impressed by Take Me Home than they were with her mixtape. They questioned her versatility and the potential of her longevity. They said, all that buzz means that PinkPantheress, more than most viral stars, faces a treacherous path towards longevity and legitimacy. The hits on To Hell With It followed a strong but easily replicable formula that other artists are already beating to death. Last year's best PinkPantheress song wasn't even a PinkPantheress song by Emotions by Muramasa and Erica DeKaiser, which hit on just the right mix of two-step beats, gentle heart plucks, familiar interpolations, in this case Bonnie Raitt's I Can't Make You Love Me, and broken-hearted lyricism. PinkPantheress' two standalone singles in 2022, meanwhile, April's Willow duet, Where You Are, and a Sam Galatry collab, Picture in My Mind from August, felt a little too similar to Hell With It and a little too anonymous, respectively, to make much of a dent. As with so many overnight sensations before her, year 2 has proven to be a test of PinkPantheress' mettle. To Pitchfork's point, several other artists have already started sampling PinkPantheress' music, though she's relatively new. And while I'm well aware that sampling can be a way to honor an artist, it can't be ignored that sometimes it's also used as a way to co-opt a sound or for an artist to try it on for themselves. Aside from that, several artists making a similar type of music have already sprung up on the internet. Not to say that PinkPantheress was the first to make her sort of music, but she quickly became the most recognized and the most prominent. While her initial approach to music has been innovative, or at the very least an innovative take on nostalgia, it will be important for PinkPantheress to continue to branch out in her music, not necessarily in her methodology, but at least sonically. And this is something that artists can do while remaining true to their sound and aesthetic. Charli XCX is a great example of this being possible. She's made music for over 10 years and has still been able to explore her artistry in different sounds, but still keep a distinct sound that's hers. A PinkPantheress and Charli collab would be cool. Charli has said that she's a fan, and they've already worked with a lot of the same artists and producers, so I could see it happening. I think PinkPantheress is a perfect example as to why we can't lump all musicians who post their music on TikTok into one category and assume that their music is bad. I've noticed that a lot of people tend to take artists less seriously just because they post their music on TikTok. And don't get me wrong, there are some very, very unserious musicians on that app, but it's not all of them. PinkPantheress herself said that the main reason she transitioned from SoundCloud to putting her music on TikTok was because TikTok's algorithm makes it so that anyone can be discovered. In part, the fascination with PinkPantheress seems like another representation of most people wanting something different from the overly produced and overly manufactured artists. There's been an increased desire to support creators who at least appear as if they don't have a whole machine behind them. Another great example of this is the interest in Hemlock Springs, who's also been using TikTok to market their music. Her music and videos are reminiscent of the sort of DIY era of early YouTube when smaller artists created their songs and their own music videos. Like PinkPantheress, I've seen many people say that Hemlock's music is a reminder of simpler times. To me, it's just like reminiscent of 2008 in the best way possible. Like when I look at it, I think of MIA and I think of Santi Gold and people like that. Another aspect of PinkPantheress that people enjoy is that she's just about the music. Because she's so private, we don't ever hear drama about her or scandals or see her constantly like we do with most other artists, especially ones who got big from social media. It makes it easier to focus on the art that PinkPantheress is making rather than let our opinions on her behavior or her personal choices affect it. Truly, I think PinkPantheress is one of those artists where even if her music really isn't your thing, it's still easy to respect her appreciation for her craft and how at the end of the day for her, it's just about the music. I brought this up in my live, but I also want to bring it here, that way I can also hear you guys' opinions. Do you think that we're about to experience another British invasion with the pop girls soon? Because all just recently we've gotten Flo, we've gotten PinkPantheress, and Ray is on the rise. And then aside from them, we also have other pop girls who've been around for a while, like Dua Lipa, and Charlie XCX, even though she's been around for a long while, so I wouldn't count her necessarily as recent. But I don't know, it's just something I've noticed recently, so let me know if you think that that's a stretch or a reach, or if you think we're in for another British invasion. I honestly wouldn't mind, because the British pop girls are doing their thing right now, so I would 100% welcome it. As always, thank you dolls so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you can stick around for more. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up with me there. And if you'd like to become a channel member, you can click the link in the description of this video or the join member on my channel. Love you dolls. Like I said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you so soon. Bye-bye.